Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम
Om
नमो
Namo
भगवते
Bhagavate
वासुदेवाय।
Vasudevaya. Tannimitya Smara Vyaj.
तन्निमित्त
तन्निमित्त स्मरव्याज
स्मरभ्राज।
Grahagrasto Vichetana.
ग्रह ग्रस्तो
ग्रहग्रस्तो
विचेतनः।
विचेतना
Tam eva Manasa Dhyayan.
तामेव
तामेव मनसा
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 ध्यायन्
ध्यायन्
Swadharmad Veera Ramah.
स्वधर्मात्
स्वधर्माद्
धर्मात्
वीररामः।
वीरराम।
Yes.
हरे
Would you
कृष्ण
like to
प्रभु
read?
जी, मैं read प्रभु जी?
Yes, please.
In the same way that the sun and moon are eclipsed by a low planet, the Brahma has lost all his good sense. Taking advantage of this situation, he always thought of the prostitute, and within a short time he took her as a servant in his house and abandoned all regulative principles of Brahman. By speaking this verse, Sukdev Goswami wanted to impress upon the mind of the readers that Ajambila's exalted position as a Brahmana was vanquished by his association with the prostitute. So much so that he forgot all his Brahmanical activities. Nevertheless, all the end of his life, by chanting the four syllables of the Nama Narayana, he was saved from the gravest danger of falling down. Shwalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahata bhayat. Even a little devotional service can save one from the greatest danger. Devotional service, which begins with chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is so powerful that even one falls down from the exalted position of a Brahmana. Through sexual intelligence, he can be saved from all calamities if he somehow or other chant the holy name of the Lord. This is the extraordinary power of the Lord's holy name. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, it is advised that one not forget the chanting of the holy name even for a moment. Satatam kirtayam tom mam yatantascha drudavrata. Bhagavad Gita 9.14. There are so many dangers in this material world that one may fall down from an exalted position at any time. Yet if one keep always pure and steady by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he will be safe without a doubt. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Hmm. See, material world means padam padam yat vipitam. Every step is full of danger. And this danger is mainly coming from our own consciousness. Actually, there is no Maya. This Maya is just in our own consciousness, our desire to enjoy. Atmendriya priti vancha tare kahe kam. So this is just the so-called Maya is just in our heart. There's no one else who is interfering in our consciousness. So this Ajamil had practiced bhakti for 20 years of his life. And in the association of a prostitute, he lost his good sense. And he was like, just as a lower planet eclipses a higher planet, so his intelligence was also eclipsed. So we have to understand actually there are 2 points that Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing here. One is the importance of association, and second one is the importance of the holy names. Now, Srila Prabhupada here describes that, if we see carefully, Ajamil had practiced pure life for the first 20 years. But after that, when he saw the low class people, his consciousness was eclipsed. So we can see the great danger in this material world. So if we are not associating with sadhus, if we are not taking shelter of the spiritual master, there is so much danger in this world. So, I mean, association of sadhus also means that we are completely open. That, we discuss every subject matter. Like Prabhupada used to say that a Vaishnava has no secrets. So if we are completely open, then sadhus will save us from danger. So in this case, because obviously we can understand that Ajamil did not share anything of his private life with anyone, so he got entangled. However, he was saved by chanting of the holy names. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate bhato bhayat. So, of course, devotional service is never vanquished. It will always be there. But we should understand that we should not try to take advantage of this. Namno hi balad yasya papa buddhir. We should not do that. We should not think, oh, Ajamil did this. It's okay if I do this also. No, then it's a crime we are committing knowingly. In case of Ajamil, actually we can see that Ajamil was trying to save himself. We saw yesterday, as far as possible, he patiently tried to remember the instructions of the Shastras to not even see a woman. With the help of this knowledge and his intellect, he tried to control his lusty desires. But because of the force of Cupid within his heart, he failed to control his mind. So we should not say, hey, you know what, I'm already so fallen, it doesn't matter. No, we should at least try. We should fight. If we are, and actually, you see, most of the times, the fall down occurs because the devotee is actually trying to fall down. In case of Ajamil, he was trying to control himself. Most of the times, devotees fall down because they are not even controlling themselves. They are actually chasing. We have seen Prabhuji's deliberately trying to talk to Mataji's, Mataji's trying to talk to Prabhuji's. No, that is not good. In case of Ajamil, he was trying to restrain himself, but the Shudrani was very powerful. She was a shameless woman. But in our case, like when we associate with devotees, as we were discussing now also, for example, that where Keshan Prabhu is saying that free mixing of Mataji's and Prabhuji's, that should never happen. One should not think, oh, I am a married man, how does it matter? Or I am a married woman, how does it matter? No, actually, it's even more dangerous. Like we were discussing yesterday also. Now you have experienced the association of opposite sex. Your position is more dangerous. Your sense of shame has reduced. Now you are experienced, you know how to entice the opposite sex. So you should be even more careful. A brahmachari is a novice. He has no idea of how to deal with women. So, someone will come and say, Prabhu, don't do this, and he can restrain himself. But a grahastha, he knows how to deal with women, how he knows how to please them. In this way, he is much more dangerous to himself and to other party. So yes, he needs to be even more careful. So see, there are no ashrams in the spiritual world. Spiritual world is spiritual world. To go back to Godhead, there are no ashrams, no preferential treatment for this ashram or that ashram. When we say Grahastha ashram or Sannyas ashram, what we mean is just the standard for going back to Godhead. The standard of going back to Godhead is purity, pure love for Krishna. And all these activities, this illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, all these activities prevent us from loving God. So, therefore, they have to be given up. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Mam yo avyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate. So, one who renders unmotivated devotional service, unalloyed devotional service, sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Such a person is elevated immediately to spiritual platform. So, we have to be on the spiritual platform to go back to spiritual world. So, actually, one who is liberated in this life itself, he's already in the spiritual world. For him, the material world does not exist because he's pure. So we have to raise our consciousness to that level. So if one becomes lazy, as we were discussing that in the matters of Siddhant, don't be lazy. If one thinks, oh, I am a Grahastha, it's all right. No, then one is in a very dangerous situation. Grahastha means that we have to work extra hard to reach the level of devotion of a sannyasi. Because that's the level of devotion by which we can attain liberation. So one cannot say, oh, I am a Grahastha, it's all right if I mix freely with ladies. No, it's dangerous. The association of opposite sex is dangerous in any circumstance. One may be Grahastha, one may be. See, the point is not that whether it is sinful or pious. It is contaminating. That's all. Even pious association of women is a contamination because that association is attracting us. And by attracting it towards itself, this association is preventing us from getting attracted to Krishna. See, Krishna doesn't care about our sin or our piety or anything. It is our consciousness which he is seeing. By being sinful, we are not able to focus on him. Therefore, sin is not good. Because sinful activities distract our mind more than pious activities. But sinful or pious, if the activities are not conducive to remembering Krishna, they are all distractions in the path of bhakti. So here we can see that he remembered Lord Narayan and he was delivered. So this is the position. So Srila Prabhupada is writing here. Therefore, it is advised that one not forget the chanting of holy name even for a moment. Sattam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dradavrata. That one should continuously meditate on the Supreme Lord. So Krishna is saying in the 18th chapter also, Man manaha bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Always think of me. So this illicit sex or licit sex, they are both making us forget Krishna. Therefore, they are dangerous. So therefore, a brahmachari or a sannyasi is better off in remembering Krishna than a grahastha. So if a grahastha is taking his position easily, then grahastha is really fallen. If the grahastha thinks that he's okay, he's not. When we think we are not in Maya, that's the time we are actually in Maya. The time we think that we are actually very pure, that's the time we are deeper in Maya. We should be always fearful. We should understand that at any moment we are in danger. If we are not in ecstasy of love of Krishna, we are only in Maya. Even to the point of being Brahmabhut, even being on the point of liberation, we're still in Maya. So we need to be extremely careful. And we should understand Krishna is unlimitedly merciful, but our effort should also be unlimited. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? We continue. Text 64. Tam eva toshayamasa.
Eva toshayamasa.
Pitreye narthena yavata.
Pitre narthena yavata.
Yavata.
Gramyair monoramaya kame. Manoramaya kame.
Grame mono rame kame
Prasideta yatha tatha.
prasideta
Yatha
tha
tatha.
Mary too.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation purport by Sri Prabhupada. Translation. Thus, Ajamil began spending whatever money he had inherited from his father to satisfy the prostitute with various material presentations so that he would remain pleased with it. He gave up all Brahminical activities to satisfy the prostitute. There are many instances throughout the world in which even a purified person being attracted by a prostitute spends all the money he has inherited. Prostitute certainty is so abnormal that the desire for sex with prostitute can ruin even one's character, destroy one's exalted position, and plunder all one's money. Therefore, illicit sex is strictly prohibited. One should be satisfied with married life. Even a slight deviation will create havoc. A Krishna conscious grasta should always remember that he should always be satisfied with his one wife and be peaceful simply by chanting Hare Krishna. Otherwise, at any moment he may fall down from his good position, as exemplified in the case of Ajamila. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhu.
Very straightforward.
So he gave up all his Brahminical activities to satisfy the prostitute. See, today just I was hearing this lecture. Kishan Prabhu was discussing the same thing, Dhyayato Vishyana Pumsha Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammoha Smriti Vibhrama Smriti Bhramshad Buddhi Nasho Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. So actually he was discussing the same point that actually it's one thing. It's only one verse. That is Dhyayato Vishyana Pumsha Pranashyati. So, if you contemplate material objects, you will fall down. I mean, of course, here's the extreme example of a prostitute being taken, but any materialistic activity. We see sometimes devotees becoming overly attached to their children or becoming overly attached to their careers. All these are different forms of prostitutes. What is a prostitute, really speaking? A lusty female. I mean, one gets a female body because of lust. An overly lusty female becomes a prostitute. I mean, today is practically the whole society is full of prostitutes only. What is this entertainment industry and all? This is all that. And I mean, all the teenage girls and young girls, they all aspire to be like that. So we can see the whole society is like this. But what it literally means is a prostitute is just a personification of lust. But over attachment to any material object is lust. So therefore, all these objects, cars, career, education, material knowledge, all these are different forms of this prostitute only. So becoming overly attached to anyone, one's spiritual life will be destroyed. As we were discussing yesterday also, the second verse of Upadeshamrit, that if one becomes overly attached to worldly minded people, one is atyahara prayasascha. So if one is working very hard, one is acquiring more than necessary, working extremely hard, then one is then one is prajalpo niyamagraha, talking unnecessary things, niyamagraha, following rules and regulations for the namesake or not following rules at all, jansangasya lolyam cha, associating with worldly minded people, nonsense people, lolyam cha, becoming overly greedy for material possessions, fame, etc. Shadbhir bhakti vinashyati. These six will destroy the bhakti. So we can see that all these materialistic activities fall in these categories. And we can also see that most devotees are also falling in these categories. And that's why spiritual progress becomes so difficult. Actually, if one takes pure association of acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, one will progress. But devotees, if they don't do it, they will remain where they are. Actually, they're falling because they feel they're convinced, like, I did my 2 journeys to Vrindavan this year, now I'm a pure soul. No, that is nonsense. Going to Vrindavan doesn't make anyone pure. Simply going to a holy place has no meaning at all. We have to associate with sadhus. Srila Prabhupada's books are there with us, but we are traveling all the way to Mayapur to, just look at some deities. That's not going to purify us. One, yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado. You please the spiritual master, his spiritual master will purify you. So by worshipping the spiritual master means following the instructions of the spiritual master, which are according to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra principle. So if we don't please the spiritual master, if we don't obey the instructions of the Acharya Parampara, then we will become attracted to material nature, which is what happened to Ajamil here. So we are all like Ajamil only. We are attracted to so many things in this world. Family, education, or professional commitments, all these, because they are all distracting us from Krishna. They are distracting us from the path of Dharma. What is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying? Grahe rahi Krishna naam nirantar laiba. Jare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Amara agya hai guru tara hai desh. So, stay at home and chant the holy names. So yes, we are not staying in ashrams, we are not taking sannyas. So we should chant the holy names at home. We should chant while we are in the buses, trains, or in our cars or wherever. Grahe rahi Krishna naam nirantar laiva. We should be constantly aware of Krishna. Jare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh. At least we should be making attempts to preach. We should be making projects. We should be making plans. It doesn't mean that you go on the street and you start preaching to anyone you see. But what it means is at least you make plans to spread this preaching, arrange for others to preach, somehow or the other facilitate this preaching mission. But of course, that means that you should also see whether the preaching devotee is a pure devotee, he's of some standard. Not that anyone who has shaven his head and he's speaking nonsense and we say, oh yeah, he's preaching. There are many speakers on YouTube and all who are just speaking nonsense in the name of Hare Krishna movement. If we entertain such people just because, hey, it's all right, he's a speaker, good speaker, then we are falling in the category of niyamagra, following rules for the sake of following. No, we have to ensure that the speaker has right intentions. He wants to preach the message of Krishna only, not spread his own mission, but Krishna's mission. So we have to be very particular. Bhakti means we have to be very thoughtful. We have to be very, very cautious. So Jare Dekha Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh, you're serving the preaching mission. So Mahaprabhu is guaranteeing this. Then he says, Kabhu na badhibe tomara vishayataran. This waves of Maya will never affect you. Punarapi ei thani pabe murasan. So very interesting point there. Srila Prabhupada writes that Lord Chaitanya is saying, Punarapi ei thani pabe murasan. So be convinced that we'll meet very soon in future, or rather will never part. So if you are following the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada properly, you will feel that purity in your life. You will feel that presence of Lord Chaitanya in your life. So you should work very hard in bhakti to attain the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. It is not done as a formality, but it is done with heart and soul. So in order to avoid this distraction, we should give up all these so-called attractions. Yes, see, profession is going on. We don't have to please our bosses. We don't have to do illicit things just to get a promotion in the office. Because ultimately, who are we trying to please? We are not here to please the bosses of this material world. We are here to serve Krishna. You may make your wife the happiest lady on earth, or your husband the happiest man on earth, or your children the most accomplished professionals. But what gain? What profiteth a man if he loses his eternal soul? So if he gains the world and loses his eternal soul, so what is the use? You may be the richest man in crematorium. What purpose will that serve? When Dhirubhai Ambani was cremated, he was cremated on sandalwood. But what is the use? A bag of blood, pus, bones, and urine was burnt on sandalwood. Some beggar who died somewhere nearby must have been just burnt in an electric crematorium. What difference it makes? In the end, everyone goes by his own karma. So in this life, human life is very rare, very, very rarely obtained. Dharma swanishtita pumsham vishvaksena kathasuya. Notpadayed yadi ratim shram evahi kevalam. So if your actions are simply just material, you just cultivated a family life or created a good society and not realize Krishna, then all this is useless waste of time. Complete waste of time. In fact, this is an offense because Krishna gave you an opportunity and you squandered it. See, here, Ajamil was in an unfortunate situation. Ajamil did not go to look for a prostitute. Ajamil did not go to the marketplace to see such things. His misfortune was that it happened in front of him. But when we are doing illegal activities, when we are doing immoral activities to forward our profession or family life, we are actually violating the principles of Krishna. So that's an offense, really. And then, Shishno Parayana Krishna nahi paye. Then it will be impossible to attain Krishna. Ajamil was trying to fight. We are trying to fight in the opposite direction. We are trying to fight Krishna. So we should be very, very careful about what we are doing. This is a time to be humble. We should understand that we are actually, we are being quite nonsensical. So we should try to purify ourselves. See, human life is meant to realize Krishna. Dharmasya apavargasya na artho arthaya kalpate. Dharmasya apavargasya. All the purpose of our materialistic duties is to become purified from materialism and realize the Supreme Lord. Na artho arthaya kalpate. It is not meant to acquire material benefits. They will come by our own prarabdha karma. We don't have to work extra hard, especially for those devotees who are around the age of 50. You should not work so hard at all. You should be actually vanaprasthas now. But given the present circumstances of economy and everything, at least minimize your material activities. Focus more on Krishna. Time is running out very fast. Actually, nowadays people die by the age of 60, 65. So you have hardly 10, 15 years left on an average. So considering the dangerous situation of this material world and our own body, we should be very, very careful. And especially, one should never try to please the opposite sex. One of my a very serious friend of mine, he's a brahmachari, he gave me a very nice advice. He said, for this is applicable to both Prabhujis and Matajis. He said, in the mind of opposite sex, never try to create any feeling. I mean, think it over. It's a very profound statement. Do not try to create any feeling in the mind of opposite sex regarding yourself. It should neither be a good feeling nor a bad feeling. The devotee of opposite sex should not be thinking about you. He should only think about Krishna or Srila Prabhupada. Because in this way, we are actually contaminating and conditioning the other soul also. That's why we should stick to Shastric discussions. We should not discuss anything other than Krishna consciousness. In this way, we'll be able to avoid this kind of interpersonal communication. And thus we'll be able to maintain purity of our movement. Because it just takes one man's contamination to destroy the whole movement. And just today I was hearing a lecture of Keshan Prabhu. He was talking that he was speaking with Maharaj some 2-3 days ago. And Maharaj asked him, what do you think is about the future of our movement? And he said, well, I don't know. So he said, yes, all this is going on nicely. But I'm just fearful that someday some madman will come and spoil everything. See, all it takes is a little bit of influence of Maya to destroy everything. So a Prabhuji should not think good or bad about some Mataji. Mataji should not think good or bad about some Prabhuji. All good or bad you have to feel, you should be feeling for Srila Prabhupada, you should be feeling for the spiritual master, you should feel for Krishna. Any feeling you cultivate for anyone else is a sign of attachment. Dhyayato vishayana pumsha sangasteshu pajayate. It's an attachment. And sangat sanjayate kama, which leads to lust. So you see, Durgam pathas tat kavayo vadanti. It's a very difficult path. Shurasya dharas nishita duratyaya. It's like a razor's edge. Very difficult. Left or right. When you are walking, it's anyway cutting your feet. But if you go left or right, you'll immediately fall down. So if you hate or love someone, you will fall down. So this hate, this love or anything should be only for Krishna and the Acharyas. Not even your own family members. Hari Bol. Yes, Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
This chapter is like it's coming as a thappad.
Yes, a heavy chapter.
It's like a thappad.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much close to us. This is literally us. Ajamil is literally us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I may say, hey, I'm not living with any prostitute, but I'm living with my profession, with my hobbies and so many things.
Yes.
I'm not living with one, I'm living with many prostitutes. So if we really want to see, we should read the history of ISKCON, how Srila Prabhupada cultivated his grahasthas.
ये कहाँ प्रभुपाद जी की लीलामृत से कह रहे?
लीलामृत से मिलेगा. You can talk to devotees of Srila Prabhupada. On Facebook, there are still many of them. You can speak to Gargamani Prabhu. He has his page, you can chat, he replies immediately.
ठीक है जी. Yeah, and I know about the Facebook page. ठीक है जी.
Now just type Gargamuni or his Greg Scharf.
ठीक है जी.
So he replies, you can immediately ask. Actually, in days of Srila Prabhupada, staying outside of temple was considered living in Maya. Like even married people with children were living in temples only. Life was only about Krishna. Yes. So shall we continue?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what other Prabhuji's name you said? Gargamuni Prabhu and the...
No, his name, his other name is Greg Scharf.
Greg
Scharf. So he has 2 pages on Facebook.
Okay,
but
Prabhuji.
You can search for Gargamuni.
Okay, one is in Karmi name, one another is in initial name. Okay, initiation.
Yeah, but he more or less puts out the same stuff everywhere.
Okay,
But
Prabhuji.
very beautiful pastimes of Srila Prabhupada he writes. And you can interact one-on-one. Yeah, you can ask him direct questions about Srila Prabhupada.
Fine, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Vipram Svabharyam apraudham.
Vipram
Savarya Apravanam.
Kule Mahati Lambitam. Visasarja Chirat Papa.
Visasarja Chirat Papa.
Vairinya Panga Vidhati.
Mary Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Translation. Because his intelligence was pierced by the lustful glance of the prostitute, the victimized Brahman Ajamil engaged in sinful acts in her association. He even gave up the company of his very beautiful young wife, who came from a very respectable Brahman family. Purport. Customarily, everyone is eligible to inherit his father's property, and Ajamil also inherited the money of his father. But what did he do with the money? Instead of engaging the money in the service of Krishna, he engaged in the service of a prostitute. Therefore, he was condemned and was punishable by Yamraj. How did this happen? He was victimized by the dangerous, lustful glance of a prostitute. Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. So if we, of course, directly, it is very simple. He wasted his money in the service of Krishna, in the service of prostitute. Dharmasya apavargasya na artho arthaya kalpate, na arthasya dharma ekantasya kamo labhaya hi smrita. This is the conclusion of the acharyas. So if you have some material wealth, it is meant for the service of the Lord. It should never be used for sense gratification. Dharmasya apavargasya. Dharma is meant to liberate us from material clutches. Apavarga means materialistic activities. Apavarga means spiritual. So dharma is meant to elevate us to the spiritual platform. Any dharma of a husband, wife, son, prime minister, or soldier, all dharmas are eventually meant to lead us to Krishna. If they are not leading us, then that is nonsense. If I am proud as a soldier or a doctor or as an engineer, then I am a Shudra. I am a low class Shudra because I am proud of my body and my mind, not the purpose that this dharma was supposed to serve. So dharmasya apavargasya na artho arthaya kalpate. It is not meant to enhance our materialistic position. Na artho arthaya kalpate. Na arthasya dharma ekantasya. Material wealth should never be used for, material wealth should only be used for spiritual activities. Kamo labhaya hi smrita. It should never be used for sense gratification. So this money belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. The body of ours belongs to Krishna. So where is the question of us enjoying anything? This is not meant for our enjoyment. So therefore, if one engages in activities of sense gratification, neglecting Krishna's service, he is eligible to be seen by Yamaraj. So therefore, we have to be very, very careful. So allegorically speaking, like we are also living in very dangerous position. We have attained the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. It's coming directly from Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. Now, if we squander that advantage and we indulge in nonsense activities, neglecting Srila Prabhupada's instructions, we are also in the same position as Ajamil, that we have received good instructions, we have received the spiritual wealth, but we have squandered it. Krishna is protecting us, but if we squander this protection, then we are living in a dangerous situation. So we are also condemnable if we are not serving Krishna wholeheartedly. And you see, he was victimized by the dangerous lustful glance of a prostitute. So there are so many prostitutes throwing lustful glances at us. Our profession, the praise we receive. Oh, Prabhuji, you speak such nice English. You speak so nicely. What is that? That is just puja la pratishtha. Prabhuji, please take some funds from me. You need it for your personal use. Hari bol, hari bol. No, that is just personal sense gratification. One should understand, that, it all belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jaga tena tyaktena bhunjita mat grha kashvid dhanam. Mat grha kashvid dhanam. Try to understand to whom this wealth belongs. Wealth, beauty, education, diction, speech, all these are coming from Krishna. They are his qualities. If we have received this blessing from Krishna, it is meant to be used in his service, not our own gratification. I may speak nicely, but that doesn't mean that I should speak nonsense to please myself or to get pleasure or to get earn praise from others. I should speak glories of Krishna and the acharyas to glorify them. Mat grha kashvit dhanam. It belongs to them. It's their wealth. One should know very well to whom it belongs. It all belongs to the acharyas. It belongs to the Lord, and it must be given back to them. If we use it in our service, then Yamaraj is waiting for us. even if we are devotees, so-called devotees. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much then. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you,
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
pranam,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Dandavat pranam ji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank all the devotees.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.